Good evening, everyone. My name is Preeti Vyas, and I'm the CEO of Amar Chitra Katha Private Limited. Wishing you all a very, very happy International Seafarers Day. It is a special day which is celebrated to show respect, recognition, and gratitude to seafarers and raise awareness of the vital role that seafarers play in the world economy, enabling ships to carry over 90% of world trade safely, efficiently, and with minimal impact on the environment. On this special day, I'm extremely happy to welcome you all to this special book launch of Tacking to the Blue Waters. This is the second book in our three-book series, The Naval Journey of India, created in association with the Indian Navy. The series takes a detailed look at India's naval history and provides a deep insight into the lives of our men and women in white. It has been indeed an honor and privilege to collaborate on this unique and inspiring project with the Indian Navy. We launched the first book in the month of December, and now here we are with the second book. Very, very excited to share this journey with you. To share more, to tell us more about this book, I would like to invite Neel Paul. He's our commissioning editor at Amar Chitra Katha to join us. Welcome, Neel.
Hi, Preeti. Good evening. Good evening, everyone who's joining us on Facebook and on YouTube. It's such a pleasure to be here. It's such an exciting event and such a great moment for all of us. Okay.
Neel, tell us, what is this book about?
Well, Preeti, I can't tell you, but the best thing that I can do is also share with you some artwork, some preview artwork, right? Birbal, do you want to show us some of the artwork while I tell everyone about the book? I think it's coming on.
So,
all right.
The first book was about the maritime history of India, right? The heritage of.
Yes. So the first book was about the maritime history and legacy of India. Book two is Book one ended at 1947. Book two carries on from that story, right? Which is after 1947 and India gaining her independence, what the Navy did, what it achieved, and how it grew. So the idea of Tacking to the Blue Waters is a comprehensive history of the Indian Navy since independence. And it follows a journey of a small force with big dreams in 1947 to the giant kind of multi-dimensional force that the Indian Navy is today. So it looks at all the action, the growth, the glory, the wars we fought, the roles that the Navy plays on the waters and beyond, and of course the Navy that was built in that period. So it's really, really exciting. As you can see, there's some sneak preview of the artwork, and yeah, it was a really lovely journey to be on, and it's a really exciting book, which.
So I had the pleasure of reading it yesterday, the day before yesterday, from start to finish, and it is a fabulous read. It's amazing how much has been packed into just a bunch of pages. That you guys, in a bunch of pages, you've managed to cover like this vast scope and expanse, so many different operations, so much, and it's very exciting. So I almost felt like I had to read one bit and then put it away and then just sort of think about it, that, oh, this is what happened with Goa, Daman and Diu, or this is what happened with Junagadh, and like reading each of those, they're like stories in their own right. I'm sure they could have each been a Amar Chitra Katha book on their own. So I think it's an amazing effort, and I know how much effort has gone in from the Amar Chitra Katha team side, along with the collaboration with the Navy. So, I mean, really hats off and kudos to all of you for a fabulous, fabulous job. Yeah. How was the experience, Neel, in creating the book, in terms of the research, in terms of, I know you guys have burnt the midnight oil a lot of times. Long 2-3 hour phone calls have been the norm, right, for this book. So tell us about the research, tell us about the process.
So Preeti, some of the people that are joining us on this live are truly the architects and the backbone of this book. We've got so much help from various people across the board, from whether it be the Navy, whether it be the ACK staff. Especially, I'd like to mention the Naval History Project and the Maritime History Society that have really guided this ship and, pardon the pun over here, but really steered us towards the end goal, which is to get this book out there at the earliest. And that is why I'm also, Viraj, yes, very, very excited. When will the real book come, Preeti? Multiple questions on that. So I'll tell you what is going to happen. We will also talk about the third book, and once all three books are out, we will be releasing these books in the physical form as well. But Preeti, do you want to tell us about where people can read the book
Yes,
today?
absolutely. So we have a special introductory offer for all our readers. Tacking to the Blue Waters, the second book will be available for absolutely free reading on the Amar Chitra Katha Comics app, ACK Comics app, from 25th June till 2nd July. So don't miss out. Download the app today from the App Store and enjoy reading it. So this is a really great opportunity. You can read it on your phone, of course, or if you have a tablet or a larger device on that, or like we see many parents, they even use the casting function from their phone to cast the app onto the large screen. And I think this book especially is best enjoyed on a big screen. It's like one of those larger than life experiences, right? So you need the big screen to enjoy it. So yes, I think the entire family should sit down together, get a big tub of popcorn with you, and just read the whole book on the large screen. And it'll be fun. It's absolutely free to read, and we've got amazing reads on the first book as well. So we are looking forward to the same love from our readers for this second book.
Preeti,
So
just to reiterate, Birbal is going to play us a short ad for the app so that
before Birbal
people at
starts
home,
that,
yeah,
I do want to make a small correction to what you said a few minutes back. You said the architects and the backbone of the book. So I do agree that the entire the naval force who has been with us are the architects of the book, but the backbone is you, Neel. Without you, it would never have happened. So congratulations.
thank, thank
Over
you,
to you,
thank you.
Birbal.
All right, so whatever device you
Super
have,
cool.
yeah, you have no excuse to not read this book. So as we are all very excited, you will also be, Ria, Dilip, Viraj. Thank you so much. We're really looking forward to your comments on this. All right, shall we move on then, Preeti?
Yes, so to make the book launch extra special, we thought it would be interesting to have an exclusive conversation with Indian Navy representatives about their experiences, their favorite stories, and life in the Indian Navy. So please welcome our esteemed guests. Neil, I hand over to you to
Yeah,
welcome our guests in.
I will do so. So, our first guest is Commodore Srikant Kesnur. He is ex NDA and has spent over 35 years in the Navy. He has been captain of two frontline ships of the Navy. He has done a diplomatic tenure abroad in East Africa. He is a Navy and maritime historian. He has a PhD from the Mumbai University and five other postgraduate degrees. He has been lead author and chief editor of nine books in several journals and monographs for the Navy. He was awarded the Vishisht Seva Medal, or the VSM, in the Presidential Honors on this Republic Day. So, congratulations, Commodore Kesnur, and welcome.
Thank you, Preeti. Thank you, Neel. Thank you, all the listeners. Wonderful to be with all of you today.
All right. Our next guest is Commodore Vikram Bakshi. The officer hails from naval background and completed his initial schooling from various Kendriya Vidyalayas. He joined the NDA in 1985 and was commissioned in the Indian Navy in 1989. He also volunteered for the submarine arm and went on to command INS Shankush, which was awarded the unit citation whilst he was at the helm. An alumnus of the Defence Service Staff College and the Naval War College, the officer has been conferred with the Nausena Medal for devotion to duty. He has also commanded the recently decommissioned Indian naval destroyer Rajput. He presently is the additional director at Maritime History Society at Mumbai. Welcome, Commodore Bakshi. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Neel, and thank you, Preeti, for having us over.
All right, now I'd like to welcome Captain M. Dorai Babu NM. Um, He has completed 25 years of service in the Navy. He has commanded 3 ships with extensive sea service. He is an electronic warfare and communication specialist. He has been awarded the Nausena Medal for gallantry for his actions in the tsunami during the tsunami of 2004 in the Andaman Islands, and also been awarded the Chief of Naval Staff Commendation for exemplary work in the International Fleet Review 2016 and bringing up 3 publications. He has an MPhil and MSc degrees in Defense and Strategic Studies and another MSc in Telecommunications. He was recently deployed as the administrative head of a 1,000 bed DRDO Gujarat University COVID hospital at Ahmedabad during the peak of the second wave in May. So thank you for that, Captain Dorai, and thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Neel. Good evening, Ms. Preeti. And it's really wonderful joining all of you here.
And our last but not the least guest is Janvi. Miss Janvi Lokegaonkar is a research enthusiast and has been working with the Maritime History Society Mumbai as a research associate since July 2019. She has completed her master's in history from the University of Mumbai with an educational background in core history as her subject. She brings an interdisciplinary approach in research projects. Being a history and heritage enthusiast, she is inclined towards the study of socio-political and cultural aspects of the past, maritime and military history of the modern and contemporary period, along with the history of diaspora studies and migration studies are her areas of interest. She has been actively presenting papers in addition to shouldering promotional activities at the MHS. She is an avid reader and seeks to broaden her area of expertise in the maritime domain. Welcome, Janvi. I think you're on
Thank you
mute.
so much.
Yeah.
Neil, with all
Thank
these
you so much.
heavyweights here, I think you and me should just go away. I mean, just
I
hearing
know.
all their accomplishments, I feel like, what are we doing here?
I think we can sit back and just type in our questions in the chat.
Absolutely, absolutely. I must once again thank you all of you for joining us. It is indeed such an honor to have you all as our esteemed guest today. It's a real honor for Amar Chitra Katha.
Thanks.
All right.
Great to be for us too. It's wonderful to be with all and the young listeners. I mean, idea is to sort of interact with them too and get to reach across to them.
Happy International Day of Seafarers to you too, Damini. All right, so we have a few questions from us. We also have a few questions that some of our readers have sent. And if you have questions for this esteemed panel, and I address everyone watching, please put it in chat. Please like this video and do everything that you have to make this rise in the algorithm and all of us become far more popular than we are already. Okay, so to everyone here, what according to you is the biggest leap forward between 1947 and today with regard to the Navy? So I'm going to ask all 4 of you this question, but can we start with Captain Dorai Babu?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Neel. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, that's a very interesting question that you asked. What is the biggest leap forward between 1947? It's not just a leap. We have gone through realms of time walks to come to where we are. What was in 47 and now. And if you ask me what was the main biggest leap, I would say the operations we have done, the operations of the Indian Navy after independence, 1947, after independence, the operations we have done. With the army or with the air force, they're still a bit noticeable. Even if it's a border area, you have border villages, you have people seeing them, you have tanks rolling, you have aircraft flying on the air. But the Navy, the moment we go over the horizon, nobody sees us, nobody knows us. So I'll just recount quickly a few operations that we have done, which of course they're all there in the book also for you to read. But let's start off with a few months just after independence, and we were seeing action in an exercise piece for the liberation of Junagadh in Saurashtra. Junagadh wanted the ruler of Junagadh wanted to go with Pakistan, but the people wanted the mandate given was they wanted to stay with India. So the military had to move in, and Navy was there. The Navy started action in October 5th, 1947 itself. Then thereafter we moved on to 61, Operation Vijay, the liberation of Goa. Now it is said that this was the first time that the Indian Navy fired a gun in anger against an enemy after independence. It was dramatic with lots of land battles, sea battles with a Portuguese frigate, capturing islands. There was perfidy. There were the Portuguese sailors who had put up a white flag of surrender, and thereafter they attacked when the Indian naval sailors and officers landed there. Interesting. You'll read it in the book. Then we had, of course, the well known Indo Pak War of 1971, Op Trident, Op Python, setting Karachi ablaze. For days together, they were burning. Big fire. Then we had Op Cactus in 1998. There was a coup in Maldives, the island nation, and they asked India to help. Within hours, we were flying in people to help them. There was a sea chase. We caught a ship with the escaped rebels on it, sank it, fired it, captured them. Exciting. Then we had Op Pawan, the Sri Lankan peacekeeping force that we had sent from India to Sri Lanka. It all went in by sea or by air. There's no other way to reach an island. But it was for 3 years, 1987 to 1990. Logistics was all by the sea route, because we can carry more. We can carry people, we can carry material, guns, tanks, whatever was needed. So a lot of amphibious effort had taken place, patrolling by our ships out there, stopping the LTT or the rebels from escaping, all that. Then, of course, we had international operations like Op Shield and Bolster in Somalia in 1994. An Indian brigade was surrounded by militia, local militia, and the Navy was tasked to get them out. Yes, we flew in helicopters guarding the Indian Army as they moved out and kept the militia at bay. We had Op Rainbow in 1999, an anti-piracy, a ship which was changed its colors, names, everything, mid-ocean chase, exciting. Of course, Kargil War, Op Talwar, where the Pakistan Navy was kept bottled inside Karachi by the Indian Navy. We had Op Parakram after the Parliament attack in 2001, Op Castor Madad in tsunami of 2004, Op Rahat in 2005 as recent. We were evacuating Indians while bombing and shelling was going on. The Rahat, which had happened in much later also. And of course, a lot of other operations. I'm sure you read the book, you'll get to know many of it. So, Neel, I think that's the biggest leap for me between 47 and now.
That's a series of leaps, Captain Gaurav. That was an incredible answer. That really covered the length and breadth of all our action. Commodore Bakshi, if I can highlight Commodore Bakshi, the same question to you too, sir. What do you think is the biggest leap forward between 1947 and today?
Thanks, Neel. After what Captain Dorai has answered, we can be all well. I can say that we are all well aware that the Indian Navy is a formidable force and it is capable of holding its own. in the domain where it operates. But to make it a well balanced, complete entity, one must understand that we had to venture into building of our own undersea and air capabilities at an early stage. We had to undergo training, develop our own tactics in operating submarines and aircraft, and also developing specialist capabilities in the field of diving and naval special operations. You'll find mention of all these in the book. We have steadily built proficiency in all these specialist vocations. Both submarines and aircraft carriers are force multipliers, and today we proudly operate these specialized platforms both from the Western and Eastern origin platforms. It is no easy task to develop skills to land on a small moving deck, which is again been highlighted in the book. My father used to call it landing on a matchbox. Just a personal note, my brother, who happened to be 15 years senior to me in service, had initially opted for Air Force at NDA, and he was made to change to Navy. And his main crib was, "Why are you making me change to Navy when I want to fly?" So the answer given to him was, "What is the point in landing on a 2 mile runway? Land on a matchbox, and that will show what kind of skills you have developed." So just too bad for him. He had to join the Navy, and finally he said, "Okay, if I can't go onto the skies, let me go below the sea." So he became a diver. It takes years of constant practice, which we get through the conduct of exercises, which start at an elementary level and go on to very complex maneuvers. Today, the Indian Navy exercises with several navies around the world, which involve these specialized platforms. And all the navies have a very high opinion of our professionalism and competitiveness. You see, as technology evolves, we have to upgrade our platforms and their outfitted equipment. When we practice with these, we learn the nuances and try to get the best out of them in near combat scenarios. So, this is a continuous process which the Navy indulges in and has been doing so since the very beginning. And to keep at it over the years and continuously develop skill has, in my opinion, been the biggest leap forward for the Indian Navy.
Wonderful, Commodore Bakshi. That's such a personal way of also telling us about that whole the whole personal family movement that you and your family have gone through. Can I highlight Janvi ma'am now, please, Bigbal? And ma'am, you'll need to unmute yourself. Yeah, there we go. And the same question to you. What do you think is the biggest leap forward since 1947?
Thank you, Neel. I hope I'm audible. Commodore Bakshi and Captain Durai Babu have outlined the operations and other tactics and proficiency of the Indian Navy so very well. This allows me to say that today our Navy is one of the most formidable fleets in the world. The transition that the Indian Navy has seen in its technology and shipbuilding prowess in research and development and its role in peacekeeping activities and providing relief assistance, the transformation is simply phenomenal when it is compared to what it was in 1947. Newly independent India bought its naval ships from other countries, but eventually the Navy stressed on indigenous production and shipbuilding. It has become multidimensional since then. And I would say it was this progress in indigenization of shipbuilding and the technological prowess was the turning point in the Indian naval history.
Thank you, Janvi ma'am. I think you're frozen right now. Let me move on to Commodore Kesnur. Commodore Kesnur, I'm going to ask you the same question. What do you, in your opinion, is the biggest leap forward between 1947 and 2021?
If Neel, if I can put it in one sentence, it is what the title of the book says: "Tacking to Blue Waters." So essentially, in 70 years, Indian Navy became a blue water navy, and from as you brought out, from a small force with big dreams, and this consists of all the components that the other three people have said. One is excellence in operations. Second, what Bakshi said, proficiency in a whole lot of specializations. And then what Janvi said, having a technology ecosystem in which you are able to build your own. I think all these three contribute wonderfully to making a navy. I mean, you can't buy your way into a navy. You got to build a navy. You got to build it deck by deck. So in that sense, the biggest journey has been this journey into a blue water navy. It also consists of several other facets, all of which contribute to this big leap forward. One is our huge role in maritime diplomacy, in defense diplomacy, humanitarian assistance, disaster relief. All of that as attained humongous proportions in recent times. We are a big player when it comes to defense diplomacy. The second is proficiency in a range of niche professions. Vikram brought out some of them, but hydrography, for example, underwater medicine, our proficiency even in small things like the naval band or naval architecture or naval cuisine for that matter. I'm sure there'll be something about that later. But all of this together make the Navy what it is. So I would think, if I were to use one word, I think our development into a formidable blue water force is the big story of 75 years.
Wonderful. Thank you, Commodore Kesner. Commodore Kesner, can I ask you to explain what hydrography is to the kids that have joined because they might be confused?
Yes, I'll explain. Thanks. Hydrography basically means surveying of the oceans, mapping the oceans. We call that hydrography. Just as mapping the land is important, you need to know. You need to know your geography. You need to know where your mountains, rivers, hills are. You need to know real estate in cities. That's the basis of your GPS, your roads, and all that. The same thing prevails upon at sea. Now, hydrography in many ways is the Saraswati Vidya. It's the mother science because it combines several sciences. And the important thing is that the Indian Navy has achieved huge amount of proficiency in this. We are amongst the world's best. We have had some of pioneer hydrographers in our country. And we do hydrography not merely for our country, but for a whole lot of friendly foreign countries in the neighborhood. So developing these skills requires huge amount of investment in humanware, in science and technology, in a whole lot of other things. And I'm glad to say that we have done extremely well there. These are often the untold stories, but they also need a mention.
Thank you, Commodore Kesner. So, Birbal, we have a question from, I think, Sophie, right? Do you want to play it for us so we can...
Hi, my name is Sophie, and my question for you all is, can you each share one moment in our naval history which we all should be very proud of?
I think we'll take Sophie's question one by one. What's it? Captain Dorai Babu, Commodore Bakshi, why don't you start?
Yeah, Sophie, to answer your question, without any doubt, I would like to say that the single moment that we all should feel proud of a Navy's finest hour, is during the 1971 operations. We successfully operated in both the western and the eastern seaboard. We improvised, we displayed audacity, we displayed great tactical prudence and tenacity, and far-sighted strategic thinking. Also, the will to conduct operations which had affected the overall aim of the war. In both the western and the eastern theaters, our ships submarines, and aircraft operated with elan and forced the conflict to end quickly and on our terms. Who could have thought that the missile boats bought from Russia, which had a limited range, could be used in a devastating role of Karachi, that the naval aircraft would aid in the air effort on the Eastern Theatre? Now, these are things which were improvised and carried out during the 71 operations. The riverine and commando operations conducted closer to the coast were also meticulously planned and undertaken for the first time. And in the words of my colleague Dorai Babu, after World War II, it was the 71 operations which we saw the entire gamut of maritime operations being undertaken so effectively and successfully. The bravery displayed by Captain Mahendranath Mullah, Mahavir Chakra, even today gives me goosebumps. I think we all should be extremely proud of what our Navy did in 1971 Indo-Pak War. Neil, I hope
Thank
that
you
answers
so
your
much. Yes, of course it does. Kondo Bakri. I think 1971 is something that everyone must read that section in the ACK book as well. It is truly exciting, as is the entire book. And so please download the app now. Um, okay, Miss Janvi ma'am, can I have your answer to Sophie as well?
Yes. So, if I have to single out one event that I'm most proud of, then it has to be the success of our Sagar Parikrama series by Captain Dilip Donde, Commander Abhilash Tomi, and all our brave women officers of Tarini crew, where they circumnavigated the globe on a sailboat. Being a woman, I will say the successful execution and completion of the Navika Sagar Parikrama on the on board INSV Tarini. It was a watershed moment in our Indian maritime history or Indian naval history. It showed that sea knows no gender. It is the indomitable spirit of a seafarer that is important, and that gender is just a social construct. By supporting Sagar Parikrama, the Indian Navy has not just reprised the spirit of sailing in a way, but it also shows, or it also is an example of the sheer grit and determination of these sailing officers of the Indian Navy, which is like a testimony or a reminder for our seafaring prowess and our nautical wisdom of ancient Indian seafarers. And also because it is a classic example of indigenous boat building capacity. INSV Mahadei and INSV Tarini were built in India at a shipyard in Goa. So, as an Indian, I think I'm extremely proud of this achievement, along with all others, of course.
This is a
I hope
beautiful. Sorry, you were saying?
I hope it answers Sophie's query.
Of course it does, and it's a beautiful segue into book three as well, which will extensively cover all three of those. Whether it's both the Sagar Parikramas and all of it. So it's really exciting. And Captain Dorai, same question to you. I think Sophie's question needs to be answered by everyone. So I'll pass that to you as well. Captain Dorai, you're on mute, and now you are. Right.
Yeah. Thanks, Neil and Sophie. Very interesting question. I'll answer it a little differently. I'll answer it with a experience of my own. Okay, so I was commanding a ship. This was in Vizag, 2014, and I was supposed to sail out and go to Kochi, pick up another smaller ship, tow it all the way to Seychelles, and gift it to them from the Indian government side. As part of diplomacy and all that. So the moment I left harbor, I ran into a cyclone, Hudhud, a very famous cyclone. You Google it, you'll get to know. And it was, what to say, a real experience passing through it. But yes, I did reach Kochi and took the ship and left for Seychelles. What happened when I was going to Seychelles and Hudhud's effect was so much back in India that most of our other ships were giving aid to the coastal cities, the Vizag and other people who had got affected. So quite a few of the jobs which they were also supposed to do fell on me, since I was the only one out there. So I went to Seychelles, gave them the ship. From there, I came out. They said, "Okay, can you go to Mauritius, help them out a bit in patrolling?" I said, "Yes." Went to Mauritius. From Mauritius, they said, "Okay, go to Maldives now and take care of their EEZ patrolling and policing." Did that. From there, they told me, "Go to Sri Lanka on your way back." So while I was going back to Sri Lanka, I get a call in the night. Says, "Dorai, head back to Maldives." I said, "Why? What happened? I just left there." Said, "Yes, they've got a crisis and they've asked us for help." The whole of the island, Maldives is an island, and their main freshwater supply is through desalination plants. They make water from the sea. They do not have rivers and they do not have ice caps melting or anything. And so their desalination plant caught a fire and went defunct. They wanted water and they looked at India. And Dore was floating around nearby between Maldives and Sri Lanka. So I just turned around, rushed, max speed, went to Maldives. While I was entering, middle of the night, 2 a.m., if I remember correctly, 2 a.m., I'm entering. I hear the Chinese ship also, they're also rushing, trying to help, but we reached there first. So we went inside, and whatever water I was carrying in my ship, we gave that to the people. It was not much, 50 tons or so is initially we gave. I immediately went to a little deeper, made water. We also, the ships also have RO plants, desalination plants. We made more fresh water and gave them. By the time India sent, the Air Force came in, we sent our largest tanker with about 3,000 tons of water. Malay is just a city of about 1 lakh people, and we really were able to help them. Thus, we finish the role, or we assume the role of being the first responder to all our neighbors in the Indian Ocean region. That, for me, is a single moment for our nation to be really proud of. Today, anything happens in the Indian Ocean region, surely we get a call. India gets a call. Can you guys do something about it? Yes, and we can do about it. That's it.
That makes us so proud, Captain Dorai Babu. That is such a wonderful, wonderful moment in your life, and therefore all of ours as well. It's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. Commodore Case Noor. So we've now heard so many different words being thrown about diplomacy, first responders. We've heard hydrography, we've heard anti-piracy. So can you kind of encapsulate what the Navy does? Because it seems like y'all are doing a lot. And where do you get the time, and what is the overall role that the Navy gives us?
The Navy, if you were to look at it very, very, as a lesson or a syllabus or an examination, someone asked and set for the children, what are the 4 roles of the Navy? So you would have those roles detailed like this. But I'll try and explain and make it simple. The first role, of course, is what we call the defense or the war fighting or deterrence role, which is the main role of any armed force. The second is what is called constabulary or policing. That is, you have to keep vast areas of seas. Please remember that keeping good order, maintaining law and order, ensuring that anti-social elements, gun running, weapon running, people smuggling, proliferation of unauthorized items, illegal fishing, all of that doesn't happen. Is the Navy and Coast Guard together that do many of these activities, which is called as constabulary. A classic case would be counter-piracy missions that Indian Navy has been involved off the Gulf of Aden, Horn of Africa, continuously for longest time, and we've had huge amount of success there. War fighting or deterring war through our formidable presence is what has been explained by others. So these are the 2 roles. The third role is diplomacy. Now, because navies operate in international waters, we are capable of going across to coast, to distant coast, to able to stay there for a long time, to do a whole lot of issues associated with protocol or with assistance, as Dorai brought out. There's a diplomatic role too. And the last one is what is called the benign role, such as search and rescue, humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, and hydrography. Now, often many of these things tend to overlap, or you have one seguing into other. For example, op power, you could say part of it was a military role, part of it was a constabulary role. And you could talk of hydrography survey, which is a benign role, but it can get you equities in the diplomatic domain. And let me explain this to sort of catch up on what the others said. What can be an iconic image? What can be and to me, 2018 image, of course, there's 71 war, there are fine moments. A 2018 image of our Chief of Naval Staff, Admiral Lamba. There's a widely circulated photograph of his presenting a chart. A chart is a map, or oceanic map, of the port of Tanga, which is a port in North Tanzania, to the Prime Minister of Tanzania. Now, what was special about this photograph? It was a mapping exercise or a charting exercise of the port of Tanga done by an Indian survey ship built in India. Okay. Now, why is Tanga important? More than 100 years ago, in 1914, November of 1914, there was a Battle of Tanga in which many Indian soldiers died because the Royal Navy mounted a disastrous amphibious campaign to oust the Germans. The Germans were occupation of Tanzania then. So we lost people, about 300 people, about 1,000 who were injured. It was a bad memory of colonial times, as much for Tanzania as it was for us. Now, 100 years later, you're showing a different model than from the colonial days. You're showing a collaborative model between countries in this region. You're showcasing India's sort of soft power in hydrography through an Indian built ship and its science and technology. And the Navy chief chose a wonderful day, 28th July. 28th July, as you remember, was the date that the World War I started 103 years ago, 104 years ago. So you're also putting healing touch or closure to certain aspects of history. So to me, that's a very iconic image, and that shows the multidimensional characteristics of Navy. How even when war is not there on the face of it, navies are busy. They're far away from the horizon, but they are tacking to blue waters every day, doing million different things.
That was
Thank
just
you.
amazing, wonderful. Actually, just when you encapsulate it like that, it just shows there's so little that we know. You know, even as when you're studying in school, we learn so little about the Navy. We do learn a little bit more about the Army and the Air Force, but not enough about the Navy, which is why I think it's amazing that we're doing this book, because this book will really tell children. I mean, Amar Chitra Katha is we create books for children, for young people, and I think all young people in India and all children of India need to know this and need to know this amazing work that is being done. And I'm sure many will get inspired to join the Navy, Commodore Keystone, after reading our three books.
Thank you. We hope that happens.
Actually, this is a very interesting point to segue into a question that's very popular on the comment section, which is girls serving in the Navy. In fact, there is a lot of comments that I can see that are talking about how 15-year-olds all over the country are excited to join the Navy. So you're getting a lot of people from this chat. Hopefully, there are a lot of people. Okay, Kiara has asked this question multiple times, and I think we should answer her. Please ask, ma'am, how is Navy for girls? Janvi, ma'am, or anybody else on this who is currently serving as well? Can you answer this? What avenues are there for the girls to join the Navy?
Neel, I think I'll just very briefly answer and then others can come in. Like in most armed forces, we opened up for women officers a little later, and that's understandable. Though, mind you, again, historically in World War II, we briefly had women in the Navy. It was called the Women's Royal Indian Naval Service. That's an interesting part of history, but we'll let that go. Initially, women officers joined in the medical branch, and in the 90s, early 90s, in fact, the Navy was the first to actually start, though all three services started together, but technically we were the first to start. And since then, there has been a steady growth and expansion of women officers across a whole range of subspecialties and specialties. Initially, it was short service commission for a whole lot of them. Now, recently, it has been made permanent commission in some of these branches. So, I think the Navy is opening up to women officers in a good way, in a graduated way, as would be necessary for any service. But please remember one thing, that one of our biggest problems in ships earlier days was they're very tightly packed. Ships are if you see ships, you will feel that chawls in Mumbai are places of luxury. They're so tightly packed. Now, when you have to have separate facilities for lodging, boarding, other things for women, it needed certain changes in construction and our approach, which has been gradually done. Meanwhile, Navy women officers have taken part in flying, in education branch, in air traffic control, in meteorology, in law, and a whole lot of other branches, and they will probably start joining the ship soon. So I see a very bright future. If you are 15-year-old today, Kiara, then within 4 or 5 years, when sort of you get ready to join the Navy, I think the Navy would have much more space for women officers, and we'll see a whole lot of you. Hopefully, we'll see you becoming the chief of naval staff one day.
For the case note, I would strongly advise you to keep a lookout for this name.
Kiara,
We'll do
I
that.
also want to mention Ria, who's also asked this question multiple times. So both Kiara and Ria, we will see you there.
And Neel, we can say that, the first spotted on the Amar Chitra Katha book launch session.
Kiara, Ria, remember this. It'll have to be in your Wikipedia pages. Okay, so shall we have one more question from a child, Birbal? Do we have another one that was sent in?
And Kiara says
Hi,
definitely.
my name is Niharika. My question for y'all is, following the news around COVID, we have seen a lot of articles about how the Navy has helped the country. So, can you tell us more about it in detail?
Captain Dorai, I think that question has to be answered by you. You were right in the flames of that fire that we've all survived. Can you please answer on that one?
Yeah, thanks, Neel. Thanks for throwing it at me. Uh, okay, COVID was a pandemic which the world never saw coming, or you could never be actually the not never saw it coming. You could never be too ready for it. It was a pandemic of epic proportions, the whole world. So India is also a part of it, and we learnt it on the run. So as regards the Navy's contribution, finally, please remember the Navy is also an instrument of the Indian government. The taxpayer has the Navy, and when he so needs it, the Navy is there to help him out. There's nothing more to it, Niharika. The government announced Mission Vande Bharat, where they said, okay, all our people who are abroad and everything will start getting them in this pandemic when everybody was shutting down. All countries were shutting their doors down, closing their airports, seaports, everything. The world was coming to a standstill. So the Navy took on, and what we called it the Samudra Setu, aptly named the bridge over the sea, Samudra Setu. And we sent all warships. We sent warships to our neighboring countries, Iran, Maldives, Sri Lanka, to get stranded people. And mainly they were all students. They were students, they were workers, the Indian diaspora all over here. We got, I think, a total of around 4,000 people back from there. Of course, there was the Air Force also doing it, and there was Air India also, but the Navy was not stepping back. We went to where we could, and you should know that the ships in the Indian Navy are definitely faster than the merchant ships. We've got bigger engines, sleeker, faster. So we went to these places, picked up as many as we could. And when I say pick up as many as we could, you should know that these ships, the warships, are just meant exactly for the crew which is there. So anybody we take on, our crew gave their bunks, gave their spaces so that these people could be comfortable in the journey back to India. So it was just a part of our duty. Now this was Samudra Setu 1, where we got people back, and then there were crisis after crisis coming. We had the oxygen crisis coming up, a shortage of oxygen everywhere. What do we do? So Indian Navy started the Oxygen Express. We had ships which were out at sea, which were throughout the pandemic out at sea, doing some exercises, doing the we were just finishing an exercise with the French Navy, and oxygen crisis hit India. We need oxygen from wherever we could pick it up. So we went Bahrain, Doha, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi, Singapore. We picked up more than 12,000 oxygen cylinders, large amounts and tons of medical supplies, oxygen tanks, cryogenic oxygen tanks, 300 tons plus. All this was taken, brought back quickly to India, and I've received calls from customs. So let us know as soon as it comes. How can we dispatch it immediately? No waiting, no delay. All government agencies came together, meshed in very nicely. The ship docked, there was a crane, lifted the oxygen tanks, put it on trucks, and the trucks went off to hospitals where it was needed. So this was our Samudra Setu in COVID, and of course, the recent experience I had in May with the second wave at the peak of it in Ahmedabad. The government had set up these DRDO hospital, 1,000-bedded hospitals, chock-a-block full, patients, and oxygen was there, given doctors. I was leading a contingent of about 400 doctors, and we were managing the patients out there. ICUs, two ICUs, three wards, at any given time 900 patients. It was exciting, it was a learning moment, but then the Navy was there. We fulfill our role in what we say as aid to civil power. So it's not only war fighting, it's internal crisis also that we can handle, and we will continue handling. I hope that answers you, Niharika. Thanks, Mr. Neil.
Neel, I can just add one small thing here. I think Durai has put lots of issues. As a service, we have contributed to a lot of technical repairs of plants which were producing oxygen. There was community service done through naval community members. We reached out, we facilitated lots of movement. But one of the biggest heroes in this has been the Navy's medical branch too. Our doctors, our nurses, nursing officers, and our paramedics. Please remember that you have to keep the armed forces fighting fit for any exigency. COVID or no COVID, the Navy has to be prepared for war anytime. And therefore, the medical branch has to keep the service and the veterans fit nice. And I think the Navy's medical branch came off very beautifully during this COVID in ensuring that all of us were fit so that we could go and help people outside, so that we could do the Oxygen Express, so that we could do Samudra Setu, so that we could do Mission Saga, so that people like Durai could go and operate there. I think the Navy's medical branch needs to take a bow for the wonderful work they did behind the scenes in management of COVID.
Truly, and as civilians, we are going to be grateful for a very long time for
Absolutely,
that. In
absolutely.
fact,
So our heartfelt gratitude for just the amazing work that the Navy has done in supporting the country through this crisis. So thank you so much for all those efforts. So much of it is just not known, right? It's we just don't know what is going
Yes.
on behind the scenes to make even the smallest act possible. So thank you for all those small and really big acts of service.
in fact, this is a great moment to segue into another crisis that befell us while the second wave was kind of ravaging the country. There was also Cyclone Tokte, right? Commodore Bakshi, do you want to tell us about what the Navy did around that? I mean, it was such a devastating cyclone that hit the west coast. So, uh, Commodore Bakshi, yeah. So I think you're on mute.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yes, Neel, Tokte has been termed as one of the 5 most severe cyclones to hit the west coast. And as you mentioned that we were amidst the pandemic at that moment of time, and the Navy deployed 9 ships of all kinds, big, small, including 9 aircraft, 6 helicopters, 2 each ALH, Sea Kings, and Chetak, and the total area that was searched for survivors was in excess of 10,000 square nautical miles. Now, that's not a small area, and especially taking to the seas in such conditions is not easy. Being a submariner, I can tell you that when you're out at sea on such occasions, it's first that you are trying to survive those conditions, battling the elements. The sea breaks over your bridge. You're just trying to survive those conditions, and when you go out to sea in those conditions to find out where people are and rescue them, it's an extremely difficult task. So we've been doing it over and over again, and from 17th to 25th of May, this was the biggest SAR operation undertaken. In all, about 137 personnel on Gull Constructor were rescued, and of the 261 people on P305, 13 on Vara Pradap, 188 survivors were picked up, and 86 mortal remains were recovered. So this speaks for itself as to what the Navy and Commodore Kesno already said, that we are there to serve, and this is what we did. It was all out in the papers, and it's an extremely difficult task which the Navy performed during Cyclone Taukte. Neel?
That was beautiful. Again, thank you for everything that you do. Preeti, you're on mute. And you went back on
Sorry.
mute. There you
I
go.
just said I just said that I remember reading the newspapers in that week, and just the way the survivors were recounting the horror of that night and the way it was, and their absolute gratitude to the naval officers who saved them. I mean, it was bone chilling just to read about it. So I can't even imagine the courage and bravery that the officers would have had to demonstrate to actually maneuver this kind of operation. So really, hats off.
There's an extraordinary image which we've recreated in the book as well, Preeti, with a survivor that has been picked up, and he's just folding his hands in gratitude. It's such a beautiful, striking image.
So Neil,
I urge.
I have this theory that even allow me the indulgence for a minute. I have this theory that every book has a soul, and every book is destined to be born at a particular time. When the time is right, that's when the book will come out. I know authors who've had manuscripts in their computers for decades and it just doesn't release, and somebody who publishes within a month. And the way this book has happened, that you managed to get Cyclone Tokte also into this book, to me, and to release it on this day, on the International Seafarers Day, all of this just seems to be not just a coincidence, right? I think it's just incredible that this really amazing, massive operation that the Navy was able to conduct has found its way into our book, because the book is going to be forever, right? So it's not going to be forgotten at all. I think it gives me goosebumps as well to think about that. That the
Yeah,
COVID relief as well as Tokte have, and I know you guys had to work extra hard and pull all those deadlines to make this happen. But I think it's amazing that it's come together.
Truly. Okay, shall we move on to a happier question?
Yes, another time we have another kid asking a question.
Yes, so I'm actually going to ask a question to Janvi, ma'am, because she is a civilian who is heavily drawn to maritime history. So, ma'am, what brought you to naval history and the Navy's role in the development of the country? And I'd also love for you to tell us a favorite experience while working with the Navy. Ma'am, are
Yeah,
you
I'm on mute.
okay? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, firstly, I would like to acknowledge my family roots that belong to the Konkan coastal region. I think I get my interest in maritime studies from there. Also, the fact that my father served for the Mumbai Port Trust. So, I was marinized into the maritime history and heritage scene ever since I was a kid, with all the beach walks and all the sea stories that I grew up with. Combining with this with the tremendous support that I received at MHS, Maritime History Society, to pursue research in this discipline, the guidance from Commodore Rodakal Johnson, Commodore Bakshi, and even from Commodore Case Noor. It is a first-hand experience of learning from the top brass of the Indian Navy, because their outlook towards even smallest of things are multifaceted. So it constantly keeps challenging and developing my thinking as well. Here, I would also like to mention my colleagues at MHS: Amrita, Denard, Aishwarya, Krishna, Niranjan. We are engaged in constant discussions and analysis of the maritime history, of naval history, of heritage, and even the current state of affairs. So this journey, or if we can just call it as a voyage, has been fantastic of learning and of new experiences, which keeps us going, which keeps me interested in pursuing my research in this dynamic field of maritime affairs. And coming to the second part of the question, what is my favorite thing about being or favorite experience of being associated with the Navy? Um, Apart from as part of MHS, every day is truly exciting for me. So right from entering the naval premises where MHS is located, a board right outside the building reads "Trespassers will be shot." So, which is like a constant reminder of the seriousness of the institution that I am part of. So every day for me is exciting here. But the highlight will be two experiences that I shall always cherish. One would be sailing with Captain Dilip Donde on board sailing yacht Antara, and learning the nitty-gritties of sailing and navigation from him. And the other would be visiting NDA, the National Defense Academy, where we, as part of Team MHS, were addressing the young cadets, giving a talk on maritime history and heritage. And it was just a golden opportunity. And I thank MHS and the Navy for presenting us with such amazing opportunities for civilians like me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was so lovely. Okay, can we move on to another question from Birbal? Whenever you're ready, we should have a question from Annalisa, if I'm not mistaken.
For other kid,
Hi, my name is
I love
Annalisa
these children's
Mascarenhas.
questions.
My question for you all is what.
Sorry, will you try that again, Birbal?
Hi, my name is Annalisa Mascarenhas. My question for you all is what is your favorite thing about being in the Navy and serving the country?
So that's a question from Annalisa. Commodore Bakshi, do you want to take that? What is your favorite thing about serving in the Navy?
Um, Annalisa, the Navy has an advertisement going which says, the Navy provides you opportunity, it gives you responsibility, respect, purpose, pride, and so on and so on. But it's a way of life, and uh, I, when I was about to join NDA, I had an option of opting for the medical branch or medical college, which I left and joined the National Defense Academy, and I have no regrets to date because my close friend happens to be a doctor. We had given the exams together, and I find myself more fitter, more sharper. I'm not blowing any trumpets of my own, but this is a great life that you can have in the Navy, and it offers you ample opportunity to do what you want. And I after joining the navy, when I joined the submarine arm, this was a question which was posed to me as to why did you join the submarine arm. So I said I don't like being heckled and put into too much of discipline. So I need to be alone and do otherwise. And I was very happy to join the submarine arm. So that is how it is, and I hope that answers the question.
That's lovely. Kamda Bakshi, shall we take an answer from Captain Dorai as well?
Yeah, thanks, Ms. Neel. Annalisa, if you ask what's my favorite of being in the Navy, I'm now completing about 25 years, is just two words: responsibility and accountability. That's it. I was 18 when I joined the Naval Academy. I finished my 12th class. I joined the Naval Academy at 18. At 24, I was searching for poachers in the Andaman Islands, people who had come from Burma and poaching in our waters. At probably 30, I got my gallantry award for saving lives in the tsunami operations. At 35, I was commanding a ship, my first ship, a minesweeper. At 40, I got to do many international operations. I mean, what more can you ask for when so much of responsibility is given to you and you're held accountable for your actions to the whole nation? This is my favorite in the Navy, I would say, in my career. Thanks.
That's such a lovely answer, sir. Kamda Kesnur, same question to you. What is your favorite thing about being in the Navy?
Dorai's answer reminds me of how old I am, because I have to stretch another 10 or 12 years. But again, there are so many. I mean, you can't encapsulate to one or two, but let me break it down into two. One is that the Navy itself is a fascinating place for human resource development. Any sailor who joins and leaves after 15 years becomes transformed. Any officer who joins and leaves after 10, 15, 20 years, whenever they finish their sort of service, they leave as transformed people. And I can tell you my own experience as a small town guy, middle class family. There's nobody around my family who's in the Navy. This has been a truly transformative experience to come to a big city, experience latest in technology, experience cosmopolitanism. Navy is extremely cosmopolitan. So you grow up in leaps and bounds. It's not about ranks or promotion. It's your growth as a human being that the Navy assures you throughout. So I think that's one big takeaway. The second one, the sea is a fantastic teacher. Now, I'm not like Donde or Tommy who takes naturally to the seas. Like most people on land, the sea gives you an element of resistance, but it's a fascinating teacher. When you're out there on sea, you're commanding ships, or you're just standing there to see those glorious sunrises and sunsets, to see a moon-bathed night or to see a completely dark night, to see the roaring, furious seas and your own tiny part in it, or to see a flat calm sea, to see beautiful landscapes. I mean, the sea both elevates you and makes you feel insignificant. So I think the sea is a beautiful teacher and the Navy is a great ecosystem. These are the two things I'll go out in my 35 years.
I think Neel, Captain Kesnu's next book will have to be poetry and literature genre as well.
Yeah, Kamda
Not just
Kesnur,
history. That was a
that's
very beautiful answer. Wow, now I want to be on the ship and looking at that, moonlit sky and looking at those sunrises and sunsets. It sounds amazing.
but as Commodore Kisner's introduction proved, he has gone through the training to deserve those long views and the romanticism of the high seas. Commodore Bakshi, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add on. When I was when my command on a submarine was coming to an end, you have these lovely dolphins which swim along with you. And
Wow.
I was at water level, just about a meter above the sea surface, and I had just walked across right to the bows of the submarine to take photograph of these dolphins jump out of water and do the antics and get back. So it's an amazing experience that you would not get anywhere else.
Wow, that's one of the things that really opened my eyes about the Navy while researching and working with you all on this book is specifically that how much of the world you get to see when you're in the Navy. It's incredible. And okay, shall we take one more question from a child who has sent in a video?
Yes, yes.
Birbal?
We love those children's questions.
Hi, my name is Katina, and my question for you all is, what is food like on the ship? Do you miss home when you go to the sea?
Okay, so I don't know if you all heard it, but I'm going to repeat that question. What is food like? Sabina asks, what is food like when you are on a ship, and do you miss home when you go to the sea? So, Captain Dorai, do you want to start that off?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Neel. I think you got me there for the extensive time I spent at sea and probably a little rounder on the edges because of the good food. Sabina, that's a very nice question. Before I tell what is the food like, I'll tell you what are the people like who eat the food on the ships. As you know, the Navy is open to everybody, any Indian citizen. So we have in a ship a multicultural microcosm of all the states, all the people. You have north states, you have the east states, and each one of us has got a different style of cuisines, various cuisines that we have. And you leave the cuisines, then you have the personal requirements. Some are vegetarian, some are non-vegetarian, some are egg vegetarian, some are milk vegetarians, all sorts. So coming to what food we eat, we do have a fantastic menu set when we go out to sea. It is not just because that they had to give food, good food. It is mainly nutritious because the sea demands a lot of our energy. The sea demands we work hard. It's an unforgiving element. So for working hard, you burn more calories. You need to have very high calorific food. And we also have our own sailors who are trained in cooking, in making dishes which are palatable across the board. Now you cannot go around, it's not like a restaurant where you can go and order what food you want. So there is a set menu which is decided in a week, and it is made with the limited resources that we can carry. Though we would like to carry as much ingredients that we can, we can't. We have a cold room. It's like a fridge, a freezer and a fridge. We have a cold room and a cool room where we store perishable vegetables, meats, fish, chicken, eggs, everything, bread. So we have a particular number of days that we can store the food. It's inspected by our health officials, the doctors who are there. Then it is cooked. It is tasted by other people, and then it is given to the whole ship's crew. And it's a fantastic menu. And coming back to what do we eat? You name it, we eat it. We have cuisines which can be international. We have cuisines which are very local. We have idlis, we have dosas, we have Thai food, we have satés, we have soups, we have everything. You should remember food is a moral factor. The days of the sail ships and all that, mutinies happened because the food was not good. The Indian Navy definitely doesn't have to worry about that. We get good food. Thanks, Mr. Neel.
That's lovely. Janvi ma'am, you have a very personal anecdote as a civilian who went and ate on a Navy ship.
Yes, so I was lucky to sail on board INS Teg with my colleague Amruta. We were out at sea on board INS Teg, as I said. We saw how the life of naval personnel is on board a ship. So there were demonstrations and all as well. I had my first hand experience of having lunch or food on board a naval ship. So lunch was served on the deck, which was on the helipad of INS Teg. And I can tell all fellow civilians here that it was extremely difficult to manage the plate, the food, and even the glass of cold coffee that was served on board, and moving at, because the ship was moving at a considerable speed, and the wind didn't show any mercy either. So the food was really good and high on nutrition and all as well. But yes, I can say that life on board is not that easy, but men in uniform make it look easy breezy.
Thank you. Does that answer your question, Gauri? Really, Navy life is that difficult? Yes, they have to balance
Neil,
cold coffee.
the dolphins and the sunset and the Thai food and all this is getting us really excited, and it just sounds like, yeah, I'm sure it's not as easy as that you make it sound.
No,
But
it isn't.
yeah,
I must add here that the issue is not. I mean, the Navy teaches people to make gourmet cuisine because some of these are also aspects of protocol and diplomacy. It's
right,
wholesome food, it's nutritious food, but Navy food is also, it's not simply about the gourmet cuisine. It is about that little garam khichdi and rasam in heavy seas when you're almost throwing up, holding, there's a person next to you and saying, ye thoda kha lo. It's that little touch, that dollop of achar with your khichdi that comes at the right time and sustains you. So I mean, that there was a question associated which asked, do you miss home? Now, yes, in a sense, home is always home, but in many ways, I must say this, that naval sailors and officers don't miss home, and the reason is because the food is it is suffused with love and affection. It's marinated in the experiences that we share. It is stirred in the camaraderie and bonhomie that we have. So it's not simply about food, but a whole lot of emotions that you bring into that simple act of sharing. वो बोलते हैं ना, जब जब प्यार और भाईचारा का तड़का होता है, then nothing else matters. And that is what Navy food is all about. Also, people back home have their own social responsibilities in the Navy in terms of a whole lot of community activities. So for us, ship is home away from home, and often home is work away from ship too. So that too happens. But yes, the answer is that no, we don't necessarily miss home because the ship food is very good and wholesome.
I'll let you into a secret, viewers. My life as an editor is super easy with the kind of inputs that I get from people like Commodore Kesur and Commodore Bakshi and Captain Darai Babu. It's such a wonderful experience to work with them. Commodore Bakshi, you wanted to add something to this?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, it's the life under the sea is a little different, and there it's customary, for a naval ship to transfer meals whenever they RV a submarine out at sea. RV is in the rendezvous submarine out at sea. So though the submarine food is very Spartan. We don't have much of frying, and it's most of it is boiled. But we do enjoy, making food. That's the crew gets together, and the cooks are sent on leave for that day, and the watch which is responsible, for is off watch, makes the food, and people enjoy it. So though it may not be very palatable, it becomes palatable after a few days. And we have at night, it's all dark and it's all red light, so the cooks get away with not having to clean rice very often. It's called zira rice, so what we've been through. And it doesn't matter actually when you are hungry and you need to have something. So just to add to what Captain Dorai and Commodore Kesnur just said about food.
Okay. Thank you
Never
so
going to look at
much.
jeera rice the same from now on. To forever change my perception of jeera rice.
Wow. Okay. So one final question for us from the Amar Chitra Katha side. What was it like working on a comic book? And what do we expect in book three? I will open this up to anyone who wants to answer. Uh,
I
Kamlesh,
think
you want to take this?
no,
Or
I'll come with what is for book 3 later. I think others can answer about how it was working on the book, and I'll give you a bit of glimpse of book 3 after they finish.
I'll set the ball rolling in this one. The movie Three Idiots, where Amar Khan says education is everywhere, you just have to go and take it. That's been this for me. I mean, when I told people today I'm on an event with Amar Chitra Katha, some of my relatives were asking, we sent you to work in the Navy. What are you doing with comic books? So I said, this is learning. This is also another job. Okay, so for me, it's been a learning experience. What I've learned in my training and my professional courses is completely different from this. So every day talking, I mean, I'm an avid reader. I've read some few hundreds of comics, but never once gave a thought what goes on behind it. And today I am seeing what goes behind it and totally appreciable of the fact and effort that ACK has put in here with this book. I can tell stories, but bringing it out, I think that's your forte, Mr. Neel, and your team. Wonderful. It's been a learning curve from the starting. I've learned what is artwork. I've learned what is a script. I've learned what is a scratch. A whole lot of new terms. And thanks for the education. Thank you.
thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thanks so much for that. Kamla Kesnur, you want to tell us about book three?
Yes, I'll tell you about book 3, and just take a bit from what Dorai had said, that you're learning new things every day in this job, and that's why the Navy teaches you to be the jack of many trades and master of some. So this is one great experience, and the power of let's say illustrated book or any illustrated thing came to my mind when I was defense attaché in Kenya. I got a call from the Kenyan naval chief one day saying that, how come I have not got your Navy calendar this year? And I, of course, made hurried inquiries and sent some to him. And when I was wondering, why should the calendar of our country fascinate him so much? And when I asked him, of course, he mentioned about the artwork, the great production, the photographs. And he said a very interesting thing. He says, countries of the West, more advanced countries, we realize that they have big navies. They are very far and unattainable for us. We look up to India because in many ways we can associate with some of your struggles, and to see where you have moved through the years is big inspiration for us, and we get to learn your stories through these calendars. So people are constantly learning through this medium of calendars and now through these Amar Chitra Katha books, and that is why I think this medium is very, very important. So what we have for you in book 3, ladies and gentlemen, is this. We covered the history before independence, right from 5,000 years ago in book 1. Book 2, we covered Indian naval history, 70, 75 years of it. Now, we do realize, though, that more than simply system, it is people who make stories. It is they who are heroes. So we've called our third book as Tales of Glory. It includes heroes in war who show exemplary courage. Very many stories there of 1971, 1961 Goa liberation, other operations. It includes great sporting heroes like Dilip, Abhilash, Navika Sagar Parikrama. It includes heroes of science and technology, people who did the Navy proud in our science and technology field. It includes mountaineers. It includes lots of surprise stories of people who've not only contributed to the Navy, but to nation building as a whole. And I think you must keep your eyes and ears and await with anticipation for book 3, which is a catalogue of some of the many heroes that the Navy has produced.
I cannot wait. I'm having so much fun working on this book right now, and I'm sure the audience is going to have so much fun reading it as well. It's really, really fantastic. All right, I think it's time to wind down now. Can I just take a moment to acknowledge some people that have been involved in this from the ACK end, and some of the readers will know some of these names as the great artists that we work with. So Harshomohan Chattaraj, Ghansham Bojgeri, Anurag Chandra, who is a former naval officer himself, who actually designed the cover. Rachna Ravi, Akshay Khadilkar, Snehanshu Majumdar, the last two people who have done the very fine coloring on the book. And Savio Mascarenhas, Reena Puri, Sanjana Kapoor, and of course Preeti for all their inputs. And Pratik, who is also a secret hush tone, is also Birbal tonight. Thank you to all of you and acknowledgements from our end in that.
Neel,
Yes.
30 seconds. I'd like to acknowledge, of course, the help and guidance given by Naval Headquarters in this regard. They have been hugely helpful, but also specifically Team Maritime History Society, Commodore Johnson, and other people who are not there today who did fantastic job, and my own Naval History Division and Naval History Project colleagues who contributed in a huge way. And we all know of 2 other people who prefer to remain anonymous, but Neel, you know how much they contributed, and I'd like to acknowledge
Absolutely.
their effort too.
Absolutely, 100%. Preeti also knows who those 2
Yes,
individuals
I'm
are,
nodding
so
my
we will all acknowledge them in our own ways. All right, so thank you so much. This was such an eye-opening talk, and I think our comment sections have really blown up in saying how eye-opening it is. It's really, really wonderful. There are a lot of responses that have actually, we didn't even have to throw the questions to you because there were so many Navy people who were on the chat box responding to comments and really briefing kids about it. I think there are a lot of very enthusiastic young children coming your way very, very soon. All right, so thank you. Preeti, any last words
My
for our audience?
just the usual. The book is available for a free read for the next few days, so make the most of that. It's an amazing book. We've just launched it. Just download the ACK Comics app, either on the App Store or on the Play Store, and download it now. And make sure you read the book this weekend itself. It's a Seafarer's Day, and it's a great way to enjoy the weekend reading this book. So, looking forward to lots of reads. And when you do read the book, please remember to leave a comment in the comment section. That will really encourage the whole team that put the book together. And a heartful thanks to all of you for joining the session today. It was really an eye opener, lots of things to learn, and a most enjoyable 1 hour. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Commodore
you.
Kesur, Janvi ma'am, Commodore Bakshi, Captain Dorai Babu.
Thank you,
Thank you
Neil.
so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Thanks to you all, and look forward to the next one.
We'll be back soon.
We'll be back soon.
Very soon.
Bye.